Good evening. I will call to order the Finance Committee meeting on May 3rd, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. We have councilors participating in the chamber and remotely via Teams meeting. Per the governor's order, all votes will be a roll call vote. I will begin by asking for a roll call to confirm attendance. Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas is present.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera is present.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram is present.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman is present.
And Councilor Irish is present. We have one item this evening on the agenda, and it is order number 21-100-8273, a proposed tax increment financing agreement with BJ's Wholesale Club Incorporated, who will be leasing two buildings comprising of 168,581 square feet located at 350 Campus Drive and 19,244 square feet located at 100 Campus Drive, map 111, parcel 1. And I will begin by reading the letter submitted by the mayor. Honorable President Ossing and councilors, please find enclosed for your review a tax increment financing, a TIF agreement with BJ's Wholesale Club Incorporated. A membership-only warehouse club chain is leasing two buildings comprised of 168,501 square feet located at 350 Campus Drive and 19,244 square feet located at 100 Campus Drive, depicted on the assessor's map 111 and parcel 1 in Marlborough. BJ's Wholesale Club will create and maintain 800 permanent full-time jobs available to qualified residents of Marlborough at the projected area. Additionally, the owner plans to build a new 120,000 square foot parking structure on site intended to be used by BJ's employees. Improvements to the project area are estimated in the initial capital investment of approximately 26 to 28 million in combined soft, real property, and personal property costs. They are also applying for certified project status from the Economic Assistance Coordinating Council. All active TIF agreements are monitored and tracked by MEDC on a continual basis to ensure job numbers and other commitments surrounding annual reporting and investments are being met. Enclosed for your review are the following. 1, the preliminary application from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. 2, intent to apply. 3, the resolution. And 4, the TIF. I look forward to discussing with you further. Please do not hesitate to contact me with any questions. Sincerely, Arthur G. Vigent, Mayor of Marlborough. Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members, councilors. It really gives me great pleasure to be here tonight to present the company for your support that we've been discussing coming to Marlborough now. We're talking about 200,000 square feet up at the campus. There's been a vacant area up there, and BJ's Wholesale Club will be filling that. Again, almost 200,000 square feet of current space in the city that's been vacant. They have committed to us to 800 jobs. There's been some question as to 800, 1,000, 1,100, what the number is. When we were talking to BJ's, we wanted to make sure we were on the conservative side because we've also changed our agreements where it has to be on-site employees. So some of the employees may be working remotely, so they felt comfortable with the 800 employees being in the building up at the campus. They're looking at putting over $18 million into the current campus building itself and doing some fit up. I guess I'll let them figure out how to spend $18 million in fit up in a great building like the campus, but I'm sure when they're done, it's going to be fantastic. But I think what's before you tonight more is about the parking garage and the parking structure to have additional parking for the future of the project, because what is also before you and not being discussed tonight is that overlay for expansion up at the campus, and this is one of the reasons they're going to be able to move forward on this. The parking structure itself is really what we're talking about as far as increase in value. Because even if you're putting $20 million into a fit-up of a building, unless it's lab space or something of that sort, there's not a huge value increase. It's making it more comfortable, it's a better building, but as far as real estate value itself, it's not making a huge difference in the overall value of the campus. So here tonight, we have some executives from BJ's, and as well as representation from the campus owners themselves. Meredith Harris is also on the line tonight. So hopefully, we're going to answer all your questions. If there's anything we don't answer tonight, we'll be sure to get back to you. Now, one thing I wanted to bring up, because I know Councilor Ossing at the last meeting asked about building permit fees, and what kind of building permit fees can we anticipate from this project. And again, we're using all projections. I think the schedule you have before you as far as the taxes go are projections, but we're projecting north of $360,000 in building fees alone for this project. So it's a substantial number. And last but not least, I do want to throw out, they are employees coming over to Marlborough. But we have to keep in mind when we're talking about companies between, we've talked about it before, Marlborough and Northborough and Westborough and Southborough. We have one of the higher tax rates around. So this is an opportunity for us to soften that a little bit. Westborough's rate's about 3/4 of where ours is. But we're really excited to have the 800 employees here, because that is what supports our smaller business in the city. Goes down and gets haircuts down on Main Street, or fills our restaurants, brings some hotel business in, goes to our gas stations and convenience stores. So that's what it's all about, 800 new people driving through the city and going out and using our services. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll be happy to answer any questions, but I think I'll pass the torch over to our representatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. Is Mr. Picott there? Or?
Hi, my name is Dave Pico.
Pico.
I'm Senior Vice President of Real Estate for BJ's Wholesale Club.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Council. Appreciate the opportunity tonight. I do have with me on the line our Chief Financial Officer, Laura Felice, and our Chief Human Resource Officer, Mark Griffin. I have a presentation for you. I know BJ's is more or less a household word in New England, but there may be some things that you don't know about us, and we can answer some of the questions that have been raised in the course of our presentation. So let's go to the next slide. So this is building 350. It looks different in this slide than it looks today. We plan on upgrading the exterior to make it look more like a headquarters facility. As you're probably familiar, when the campus was built, it was originally occupied by one user, 3Com, and now each of the buildings is rented by different companies. So we wanted to personalize this building. So you can see we put a canopy over the main entrance. We've changed the color of the one facade, and we've added our logo. So I think this will be a nice entryway for a Fortune 500 company that is coming to Marlborough. Next, please. So I'll just walk you through a quick company overview. If you have questions, just say stop, but I'll kind of go through this quickly. Next page. So BJ's currently operates 221 warehouse clubs. We have 151 gas stations, and we cover 17 states. Our sales approached $16 billion last year, with $857 million in adjusted EBITDA. We set many records last year during the COVID pandemic, where we were able to service all of our members on the East Coast and Michigan. Our core value propositions, you'll see our value proposition. We offer prices that are 25% lower than conventional grocery stores. We have a large real estate portfolio on the Eastern U.S., and we're expanding into the Midwest. Our membership base is large, loyal, and growing. We're over 6 million members now. And we have a wide array of products. Our assortment and convenience is much larger than our competition, particularly in perishables. Next, please. So we'll talk about the favorable warehouse club dynamics. You'll see we're in a class of retailers that is doing extremely well. We offer a differentiated shopping experience. We have a large and loyal membership base. Our business model is very strong. It's very profitable. We generate a lot of free cash flow, so BJ's is a very strong company. And we have a growth strategy that's delivering long-term results for the company. Next, please. So these are the warehouse club industry dynamics. So this includes BJ's and our competitors. So you can see the annual CAGR growing of over 4.5% over the last 10 years, which is really remarkable in the retail industry. So we're well positioned in a very strong segment of the retail industry. Next, please. So compared to our other competitors in the industry, Costco and Sam's, we have a wider SKU selection. We have smaller pack sizes. We are the only wholesale club that accepts manufacturer coupons. And our club format is much smaller and more convenient, well-signed, and easy to shop. Compared to some of the discount department stores, we have a bulk size offering, which we think brings value to that member. And versus conventional grocery, we talked about the general 25% average lower price. And with online, the online business is growing for BJ's rapidly. We now have pickup in store. We now have perishables pickup in store. And we ship from club, so you can order online and we'll deliver groceries to your house. So BJ's has really led the way on what we call omni-channel shopping for wholesale clubs. Next, please. So as I mentioned before, we have over 6 million members. You'll see there's higher tiered memberships for team members that want to participate in our co-branded credit cards. So let's go to that slide. So as you can see here, the Inner Circle membership base is an annual fee of $55. That's about 69% of our members. As you go into the higher tier membership rates, you get points back, 3% at point of sale, 2%, 5%, and then you start saving money on gasoline. So it's well worth it to upgrade to the higher membership base. The membership fee does go up, but I can tell you from personal experience, that membership fee gets paid back in less than 3 months, depending on how much you shop. So it's actually a very good value proposition for our members. We delivered over $150 million in rewards to our members last year. Next, please. So we talked about the value proposition that BJ's offers. We are non-union, so we require less labor to operate. We pass those savings off to our members. We do have limited SKUs, even though there are more SKUs than our other warehouse competitors. We have a large pallet presentation, but we also have a very large perishable and dairy and meat, and we're the only warehouse club with a deli. So that differentiates us from our competitors. Next, please. So these are our core values. So, acquire and retain members, deliver value, improve convenience, and extend our reach. And I'm the head of real estate. I've been in the retail business for over 35 years, and I could tell you BJ's is one of the fastest growing retailers, not in terms of store count, because our stores are huge, but in terms of total square footage. We're trying to open at least 10 clubs a year, plus 10 gas stations. So it's 1 million square feet a year is a pretty significant growth. Next, please. So it's a little hard to read. I don't know if you can see the slide. BJ's mission statement is committed to delivering outstanding products at an unbeatable value to our members. We have a very high sustainability commitment, so we're concerned with the environment. We're very active as part of our community. Over 40% of our club general managers started as hourly, and they work in the communities that we operate in. In terms of operations, we recycled 500,000 tires last year, over 100,000 of paper, and 67 tons of waste. So between solar and electricity, we generate 6% of our annual electricity needs. So we're very environmentally conscious and community oriented. In terms of COVID-19 at the bottom, and Mark can speak to this more, we invested over $154 million in labor, wages, safety, and bonuses last year to make sure the team members that work in our store and our members who shop in our store are all safe. Next, please. This is a typical BJ's Wholesale Club. You've probably seen them in the area in Hudson or over in Northborough or parts surround. So this is a very common looking building. Next, please. This is our pickup and club. We call it BOPIC, Buy Online Pickup and Club. So we have everything ready for you when you walk in the store. You can simply check in at the member services desk and take your order home with you. And this again includes both general merchandise and perishables, which we added last year. Next, please. We have a new optical assortment. So we've upgraded all of our optical facilities, a wider range of SKUs. We have optometrists on call, and we're introducing a new concept this year called telemed, where we can do online prescription eyewear. Next, please. This is just a shot of our bakery shop in the back of our store. These are our new prototypical images. So we've hired some design firms to help make the club look more organic, more earth-friendly, a little less warehousey. But I think you'll find the clubs are very nicely and very clean in terms of their safety and maintenance standards. Next, please. We also have the deli, which I mentioned to you before. And we have our own butchers, and we have our fresh made meat department. And produce we're especially proud of. This is really a very nice assortment. It's smaller pack sizes. Everything is fresh and high quality, and we've reintroduced this concept and expanded it because it's one of our most popular items in our store. Next, please. And next, please. And this is just an example of our high bay where we have, warehouse racking, and a lot of our grocery, dry grocery, and general merchandise and seasonal products are on this type of a fixture. So I think that's all I had for my presentation. I wanted to address the headcount issue, which has come up a couple of times. The mayor mentioned it. BJ's actually has over 1,100 permanent full-time employees. When we think about the future of work and our new workplace environment, and one of the reasons why we're moving to Marlborough is we want to create a more collaborative, what we call a hybrid work environment. So we estimate a percentage of our team members might work from home on occasion. On average, though, at least 70% will be in the office. So that's why we're comfortable with the 800 number. More than likely, there'll be more than that on any given day, plus visitors. We have many vendors that come in. They'll be patronizing the hotels, the restaurants, and I'm sure our members in the office are going to love the shopping and facilities that are in Marlborough. It's a really nice town, and we're very excited to come in there. So that's how we got to those figures, and we can answer any other questions you may have.
Thank you, David. I will ask MEDC Director Meredith Harris if she has anything that she would like to add.
No, just happy to answer any questions if there are any for MEDC.
Thank you, Meredith. Oh, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was corrected by the president, so I just wanted to bring up the request for the building department fees was from Councilor Orem, so I wanted to make sure I clarified that. And also, there was a a line in the resolution that needed to be changed. So when you have that, I believe that the corrected version is down to you, but if you need clarification, we could have Meredith Harris discuss the,
And that's in the,
Yeah.
new packet, the res?
yeah, it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, so what I will do is I will open it to any questions on the finance team and then to the rest of the council.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, Council Orem.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had a question related to, and you saw my email, I did see a response.
Thank you.
At the city council meeting, I was looking for a spreadsheet of what we are gaining with this TIF, including increased taxes down the road and what we're losing. I like a balance sheet. So I'm not for sure if that has, I think you said Meredith Harris was going to present that to us.
Thank you, Councilman. I will refer to the mayor on that as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Counselor, there was a spreadsheet that was provided, and I had assumed that you would receive this, but over the 20-year period, the exemption would be $592,419. And again, these are estimated numbers based on the value, whatever the value is. But again, this is one of those where there's nothing there right now, because this is almost exclusively on the parking garage. So it's all new value to the city. We would be collecting about $290,000, and the exemption's approximately $592,000. And then, as I stated, the fees for the building would be approximately $360,000 that are still being paid by BJ's.
And if I may, Mr. Chair, to the mayor, are we gaining any additional monetary value from new growth outside of the building permit fees?
The new growth figure would be a little difficult because that's on increased in value because of construction. So, again, the additional value to the campus, even though they're putting in a substantial amount of money, I don't think that value would completely be reflected, and may only be a small portion of the increase of the campus. But we're having the 800 employees here spending money in our small businesses.
Okay, I look forward to seeing whatever was presented. I did not see that paperwork, and I know Councilor Irish, Chairman of the Finance Committee, did say that it would be worked on and forwarded to me. So thank you for your answers.
Councilor Doucette?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I do have a couple of questions. The 800 employees, is that considered to be, that's new employment for BJ's? That's not necessarily people being transferred from the current Westboro building? Or how is that going to work out?
It would be new employees for the city of Marlborough, not new employees for BJ's. That's why this is considered a local agreement and not a state agreement, because they'd be shifting from one facility in the state to Marlborough.
Okay, so this is just so are they going to keep the Westboro building for themselves? Like, is this, right now they're in the Westboro building, that's the current headquarters.
That's correct.
So are they going to keep that building and then just move the headquarters? They're going to phase out the
They
other?
will not be.
Okay. That's enough for now, thank you.
Councilor Pearlman?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you so much for the presentation. We really appreciate all of the background information. I have a couple of follow-up questions specifically. So I know that you all were in Westboro, it seems, for about 10 years, and previously were in another community. And so I'm just curious, with the 20 years that's indicated on this TIF, what are BJ's plans afterwards? Is there a likelihood to stay in the community or just to go to another community afterwards, given, the length of the TIF and the length of the lease agreement?
I can respond to that. The likelihood is very, very high that we'll remain in this location. Because we're part of a campus, there is other space available to us in the future that we have an agreement with our landlord that if BJ's needs to expand and wants to expand, then we have an opportunity to lease additional space, and that's our intention. BJ's is a growing company. We outgrew the space in Natick. We've outgrown the facility in Westboro. This facility can accommodate many more team members, especially the way it's been designed with a state-of-the-art, modern, collaborative, open floor plan, which part of the $28 million we're spending will be to install interconnecting stairs. So each of the 4 floors in building 350 will have beautiful walkways, cascading views, and really nice ambiance. So our intentions are to remain in this building for as long as possible.
Thank you. It's good to hear that. We'd love to, have companies continue to stay in the community long term and definitely contribute to our economic growth. I'm curious as well, if were there other communities that BJ's was considering when deciding to move, and if this TIF did not go through, what would BJ's plan be, as well as just thinking about long term, what really drew BJ's to Marlborough? I know you brought it up in the presentation, but I was just curious. We've had other companies come and say that they were looking at different communities, so it'd be nice to have that comparative information.
Yeah, in addition to the amenities in the area, which are sizable, we looked at other buildings as well. We looked at other buildings in Westboro. We looked on Computer Drive. There's a large building, 4,400. It's actually been sold to an internet company that we all know. First letter starts with A. And then the building behind us up on the hill, which is owned by eClinical Works. Neither of them were really compatible with the type of environment that we wanted to create. And one building was too big, the other building was too small. We looked in Framingham. The economics in Framingham are much more expensive. So the rental rates, the occupancy rate, the tax rates in Marlborough are much more attractive to us.
Thank you. And I just want to clarify, I know the mayor mentioned, the 800 jobs, and there were discussions that, others might be, remote, but that the 800 would be remaining. And I guess I have some questions, particularly about the resolution with the city. There is the kind of language that still maintains in the TIP around job creation. So I don't know if that was intentional to include that. There's several sections that say, that new jobs will be created. There's a reporting requirement about new jobs within the resolution itself that has the agreement with the city. So I would like some clarity about that, if that was a mistake or if it's going to be changed to reflect the maintenance of 800 jobs. And I'm wondering, is there any commitment to ensure that those jobs do not decrease? There could be increased automation or remote work in the future that we can't foresee. And I wanted to know if that's part of the clawback as well, that there would be no drop in the number of jobs from the 800.
No, the 800 jobs are new jobs to the city of Marlborough, not new jobs to BJ's or to the state of Massachusetts. Again, that's why it's a local agreement and basically gets its blessing in Boston, but it's a local agreement. There are no additional incentive, on any additional tax credits. In the TIF agreement itself that you all have, it says that those jobs need to be maintained throughout the agreement. So, and we also put the clause in there that they have to be on-site jobs. They can't be remote jobs. It's something that we just started doing in the last year because this was never expected by anybody. So we've made that adjustment in there. But it's 800 new jobs for the city of Marlborough, not to the state, and they are to be maintained throughout the agreement.
So just to kind of clarify that, I'm looking at the resolution on 10-11 within the packet. And so there's some language in several places around the economic use creating jobs for local residents, that it's likely in 1A to increase employment opportunities for Marlborough residents. And then in 1C, to not merely replace or relocate current jobs within the Commonwealth. So I guess my question, this seems like maybe language from other TIFs that might need to be adjusted in this particular circumstance, since it's the transfer of 800 jobs to be added to Marlborough, but not new jobs.
And that's why
I don't know.
oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I don't know if Meredith could speak to that as well, because the language repeatedly talks about creation of jobs, and that does not seem to be where this conversation is landing.
And that's why I said that we made a change to the resolution to reflect that, because that was obviously picked up and it was corrected with the new resolution that says it's Marlborough jobs, not newly created jobs for the state.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that as well. And sort of moving with the rest of the agreement as well, I'm curious to hear, why the 20 years, as well as given the table on 10-15 in the packet, it doesn't even reach 50% till 2037. So I'm curious if we could talk through maybe some of the background of how those percentages were decided for the real property exemption, as well as the number of years. I know the last one that had come up was 15, and that was also seen as very high. So I'm curious why 20 and why the breakdown of the percentages for the exemption.
I don't know if you want to go ahead, Meredith.
Sure, happy to do that. Councilor Perlman, thanks for the question. When we're looking at the number of years for the TIF, and it really just depends on the company, depends on the situation. And when we look at the percentages, we try to get to an average of about 65 to 68% for an average exemption over the life of the TIF, which is what we typically do for whether it's a 5-year TIF, 10, 15, and in this case, it would be 20.
Okay, no, I appreciate that as well, Meredith. A couple other points I wanted to raise is I know in the past, I'm looking at page 10-17, number 2 in the tip around the reporting requirements, which I know say here to go to the Board of Assessors and the Mayor's office, and I'm assuming to MEDC as well. I think it'd be extremely helpful to have these reports also go to the City Council. I think that should be a continued practice moving forward. That could be on the agenda to show that information, especially to have more transparency around TIFs in general. And I know this also says the job creation, so I wanted to highlight that should be changed as well. And would these happen on a quarterly basis, the reports, or what would be kind of the term in which we would get this information?
So the reports are done annually, and so the state through the EDIP program requires the reporting at the end of December. And we do report at MEDC annually. We submit to the mayor and then through you to the council to make sure that the TIFs, that we're monitoring them, that the job creation is on par. And as we were able to see with previous TIFs, if they don't meet the job creation, there is mechanics set in the TIF to ensure that the city, it's prorated based on the number that they were able to meet.
Right. And so to your point with the job creation, if that is not at play in this TIF, what are the sufficient clawbacks that we have, to protect the taxpayers and us as the city to ensure that we can really track, the successful completion? Is this through the parking garage, or what other ways are we able? I read through the clawback, but it doesn't seem as clear beyond, use of local vendors and the reporting requirements.
Well, I think it's just a difference of opinion in terms of the jobs are being created in Marlborough. So when you look at the state, I guess you can say that the jobs aren't being created for the state, but they are being created and new for the city of Marlborough and the residents that are here. So the company's obligation is to make sure that they're maintaining that 800 number throughout the entire life of the TIF agreement.
And so if they were to drop below the 800, what would happen?
There's a formula in the TIF, actually, Councilor. So if you can plug the numbers in, it's prorated based on the number of jobs that they were able to meet. So if it was 700 jobs, you can plug it in. It's a formula where it prorates the amount of exemption that they're able to meet.
Okay, thank you. And I have another question, and then I'll definitely let some other councilors come forward before asking any others. And this is, directed for Mr. Pico about sort of the business practices of BJ's. You said there's around 1,100 permanent full-time employees. I'm wondering, the gender breakdown of those employees, what the hourly wage might be, especially for workers and if there could be a wage floor as well to ensure that there's a, an equitable wage for some of those initial workers, and was curious if you can speak a little bit more about that.
I'm going to ask Mark Griffin, our head of HR, to comment on those questions. I know some of those have deeper meaning than I think we're intending to get into as part of this arrangement. But I think Mark can speak in general about what our hiring practices are. Mark, would you mind answering that question?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thanks for the question, Counselor. So we have, out of our 1,100 employees in our headquarter building, which we call our home office, all but about 100 of them are salaried exempt employees. So the non-exempt hourlies, most of our employees are in our clubs, but in our home office, it's just about 100 of the 1,100. They're all market priced, right? So we do a market evaluation with an external third-party compensation firm to determine, the right rates of pay. These are different, right, than the frontline retail roles. These are home office, headquarter roles on the hourly side. Think of finance, accounts payable, accounts receivable, those kinds of roles. So, and again, those, I don't have the exact hourly rates offhand, but they're all market driven and based on the market.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate the responses. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Perlman. I would thank you. I would like to add as well that the TIF is on the new growth. It is on the investment side of the investment of the parking garage and the additions that they will be adding. We certainly know that the TIF is an economic tool for the city to attract new businesses into our community. And for me, working forward, that some of the criteria that I use, trying to work and welcome a new business into our community, BJ's Wholesale Club has a strong business plan, strong foundation, a vision for growth. I think that's a very positive. Just the revenue alone of over $15 billion gives them a strength in the market. Those are all a positive for the city. Some tangibles that I looked at that you may not see on a pie chart, but it's early on with the membership club, they implemented different methods of payment for their membership, which would include the EBT cards, food program, and debit card for their membership. So that helps the consumer when they're shopping on a daily basis. They also support local food pantries, which I think is definitely a plus. These are values that I think are a good fit for our community and for the city and for the business community. But I will leave that to any other questions for the council. Council Landers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple of real quick comments. I'm very pleased that BJ's is coming and they're going to be renovating that building, because that is a beautiful building. But I'm most pleased about that we're moving forward on the campus. All right? And I really thank the landlord for taking the initiative of, rather than use up all the parking places there, he's going to build a garage. Now, we saw what happened way back when Fidelity built a couple of garages. It took care of their need, and it let more green there and so forth. Plus, we want more growth at the campus. So I'm very pleased at how that's going to head. And just another quick comment, Mr. Chairman. I talked to a couple of different companies in town, and one was a gas station. I know BJ's has a gas station, but that's all right. He says, well, 800 more cars going through Marlborough is a real plus. In a couple of restaurants, they were saying, well, you get 800 more people working, with not too far from our restaurants. It's a real plus. So the residents have really picked up on this, and this is what they hope to see, and that's what they're seeing. So I think, Mr. Chairman, this is the beginning of something great again at the campus.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. And as a reminder, the city still received the baseline taxes of the of the land that is there, or the building, or et cetera. So we still receive the baseline taxes. Councilor Dumas.
Thank you. Just a quick question. I'm just curious to see your time frame. I know the TIF doesn't start till 2023, but does that mean that you'll be moving into the campus site before that?
We plan on starting construction this fall. The landlord is preparing the space for us to take over, and then we'll do our renovations. So we'll start moving in the spring of next year, and by the middle of the year, by summertime, we should all be in occupancy. We're also moving our data center there, so all the hardware and software that runs the entire company is going to be in building 100 on the first floor. So that's a big part of the move that we have here.
Thank you.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I think the opportunity here is great for the city too. You know, the campus site is a regional gem as far as access and location, and view from up there is just absolutely astounding. It looks like I did have just, you know, the clarification was the project area is the specific area that's being taxed with the TIF, which is basically the parking garage. I think that's perfectly fine. So I really don't see any issues with this myself, and I wish them the best.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. President Austin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I guess I want to address a couple of the comments I've heard from the councilors. I'll start with Councilor Oram. Councilor Oram, you were exactly correct at the public meeting that we're going to get a parking garage. And we don't want, but should BJ's leave, we've got the parking garage that'll then be assessed at full value. So you're spot on. As far as the table, Councilor Oram, the assessed value of that parking garage is $1.8 million. At today's tax rate, that's $44,000 a year in taxes. So take the table, 100% exempt the first 3 years and work your way down. That's how you get to the $592,000 that is being exempted. I want to remind councilors that the base, go back to the presentation, the campus pays over $1 million a year in taxes. $1 million, all right? We're exempting the $44,000 annually on a prorated scale over 20 years, all right? And I'm not sure if maybe it's Councilor Doucette, the value of that campus building will go up or down over time as the market fluctuates. But remember, what we're talking about here is the parking garage, all right? Councilor Landis, you are spot on. We could pave and take down tons more trees and put parking space. No, they're going to put a parking deck, which is outstanding. I mean, you go to any master plan that says, don't tear down the trees, build your parking garages so that you can save more green space. So again, outstanding. Councilor Perlman, you asked about the resolution. Item 1C is what you're looking for. And if everybody goes to page 1011, item 1C, the line that is being eliminated is the third line down that says significant number of jobs. And we'll start with the word and, get your red pens out, draw a line through and, not merely replace or relocate current jobs within the Commonwealth. Line it out. Solicitor's already looked at it, already got it. I'm not sure if the chair has it, but that's what you'd be voting on for the change to the resolution. On page 1018, Councilor Perlman, item 3, that is what happens if they do not make their numbers of employees. It's a percentage, and it's worked extremely well in the past. As far as requiring in the resolution to have it come to the council, it comes to the council. Annually, MEDC collects the information, sends it to the mayor, and it comes down to the council. So there's no reason to have to put it into the TIF agreement. And councils know is when applicants come before us for a TIF, the first thing we ask is, what's the status of all the other TIFs? All right, and we find that out based on the annual, and it only happens once a year. They only submit their data at the end of the fiscal year. It'll be published by December, and then by the time Meredith and the assessors get their things, we see it in the spring or summertime, sometimes into the fall. So again, I just want to remember, it's the parking garage we're talking about for the TIF. $1.8 million of assessed value. That's $44,000 a year in taxes. That's what's being exempted as you go through the 20-year period, all right? And reminder, that campus pays, in addition to that, over $1 million. It's assessed at $42 million. So go do the 2447, and you can figure it out on your own. But it's over $1 million that place pays in taxes. And, as the mayor indicated, if you think about the zoning changes potentially, well, that is before us, you know, that's looking to expand the campus, which is even going to bring more opportunity there. So I wholly endorse both the resolution with that change, Mr. Chair, as well as the TIF agreement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Any other questions?
Mr. President, this is Councilor Roby.
Good evening, Councilor Rowley. Yes.
Thank you. I thank President Ossing for the comments that he just made. I know when I looked at this, it was interesting that the information about the building is in here when in fact the TIF is for the garage, not for the investment in the building itself. I think it's just information to give us, which is nice. I was going to ask some questions about exactly what you were doing inside the building. You have answered a few things of what you're remodeling and who would actually be employed there and their salary information, which I appreciate other people asking the questions. I guess I'm curious. I know my husband worked at that when it was before it was Hologic. And there are, I believe, still tons and tons of vacant parking spaces. So I know it's nice to have a garage, but is that garage going to be big enough for all of your 800 employees to park in? And how will you exclude other properties and employees of businesses on the campus from using that garage? Mr. Peacock, you're on mute.
I just clicked the button. Thank you. Yeah, that's a question that we gave a lot of thought to. You know, obviously, environmentally, it's much to our advantage, and it's also much closer to the office that we're occupying. It's a pretty far walk if you park further out. There are about 220 spaces, give or take, in front of the building. The parking deck will have another, I think, 330, 340. So we're getting close to 550 spaces that are close to our building. And we have 800 expected employees as well as visitors. So that means there's going to be another 300 cars that need to find spaces. And we will use the shared lot up on the surface level. I don't know how many cars are up there. There's a lot. Obviously, there's probably 1,000 car parking up there. And it's not occupied at all by Hologic and the other tenants. It's probably only half full at their busy times. Now, I haven't seen it out of COVID, so I can't really say. I've seen some aerials from historical aerials, and it's never been more than half full. So we think there's plenty of surface parking to accommodate everybody that we expect to come to the campus. The garage just gets us a lot closer. There will be a gate and a card key, so only employees of BJ's can use the garage. And we're putting an elevator in, so they'll be able to go up. I think it's 3 stories to get to the top level. And you walk across the street, enter building 100, which is, we're occupying that floor. You can walk right into building 350 through building 100 without even having to go outside. So it's really, it worked out really well. It's an ideal arrangement.
So although you are probably not going to be cutting down any trees, you are building this on land that's not currently a parking lot. It's unbuilt land.
It's on the parking lot.
So you're taking spaces that currently exist and turning it into a parking garage, turning that space. Okay. Although it doesn't really have anything to do with it. There is a project that is before the council that has a plan for parking garages also in it. So your garage would only be for your employees?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Perlman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple of follow-up questions, and I appreciate President Ossing and others providing additional content. This question is for Mr. Pico around, who the developer is to build the garage and how many construction jobs do you anticipate, and is there efforts to be hiring in local labor in the area? Mr. Pico, are you there?
Looks like his screen froze.
I think
It
that's
looks like it
frozen.
did.
I think that's frozen.
No, he's back.
I did.
We see you
I'm
now.
back. I don't think that was me. BJ's practices open shop hiring practices for construction labor. So we will bid this job out. We've already identified a half a dozen capable local contractors. We'll bid this job out. The bids will be qualified and awarded to the best quality and obviously lowest price. So that's our approach. We haven't gotten that far yet, but that will be happening.
Thank you, I appreciate it, and I'm glad the question made through the technical glitch, so I appreciate you staying with us. The other question is sort of a joint question. So the city of Marlborough in the past, especially with our growing business community, has invested a lot in shuttles and trying to get folks away from, traveling by car and using public transportation, particularly the commuter rail and the shuttle bus going towards the businesses. I'm curious, and this might be a question for both Meredith, and the mayor as well. This is building a garage, so this is obviously something that's investing in people using their cars. And I'm just curious, how did that fall into play? And are we still investing, in shuttle services and trying to get folks off their cars and using public transit?
I could tell you, Counselor, we just had this discussion at the MEDC the other day, and we're looking to get the shuttle service running as quickly as possible once it's going to be used. We don't want to just waste the money and go back and forth to the T-stop over in Southborough. So we want to make sure there's people that want to use the shuttle. At this point, we're utilizing it for our seniors and our veterans, but as soon as we can get it back down the business community, we have the funds available to get it back in place.
Thank you. And Meredith, is there anything you want to add as well? I didn't know if you were trying to unmute.
Sure, and I would just add, Counselor, you're definitely going to want to try to attract folks to get onto the shuttle, but it's not going to be all 800 that are going to want to get onto the shuttle. So I think being able to offer both options, is probably great for not only the Marlborough community, but also for the company.
Thank you. And I guess another follow-up, just given to Meredith, to the TIF that we had before the council, where is the revamped TIF currently, and is that moving along, or what is the status update on that, given that's the last one we voted on?
Sure. So I believe that you guys got the update that Revance actually, they had some issues with approval at the federal level. So Revance has actually decided to not move their project forward. So the TIF, even though it was voted on, it doesn't go anywhere. So it does not apply to that building, only to the company that it was voted on for specifically.
Thank you. I think I might have heard that, but I don't know if I received communication specifically, so I appreciate you clarifying that. I know compared to some other counselors, I do take issue with this going towards a garage. I think there's a lot of other uses that we could happen, and I definitely appreciate, BJ's coming here, and, I have a lot of services and can offer so much, but this feels like a better deal, for the BJ's community, and I wish I could see more in here, especially without any new jobs or anything. So unfortunately, I will be voting no on this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Thank you, Council Perlman. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Well, if there's no more comments, I'll make a motion to approve the TIF and also a motion to approve the certification.
the city council,
From the city
the
council?
city council resolution.
Resolution, I'm sorry, thank you.
Motion has been made.
As amended,
As amended, yes.
yes.
I will second that. Motion has been made and seconded to approve order number 21-100-8273, the proposed tax increment financing agreement with BJ's Wholesale Club. I will call the roll. Counselor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Counselor Tenera.
Counselor Tenera votes yes.
Counselor Oram.
Counselor Oram abstains until I receive the requested information in writing, not verbally. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Oram. Counselor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes no.
And Counselor Irish votes yes. It carries 3-2. Thank you, councilors.
Mr. Chairman, this is Councilor Roby. I'm just curious. I know there was an amendment that was verbalized by the president on the resolution. Will we be getting a clean copy? And was there any amendment to the TIF language itself or not?
I didn't see any changes in the TIF agreement, only on the resolution that the mayor had mentioned this evening. Councilor Ossing, President Ossing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Typically what happens is if you approve the TIF and the resolution as amended, it goes to the solicitor, put in proper format to come back to the council for a vote. So I think, Councilor Roby, that's how you'll see the modified language.
We'll go to the city solicitor. Thank you, President Ossing. Thank you, Councilor.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion's been made, seconded to adjourn. I will call the roll. Councilor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Counselor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Counselor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
And Councilor Irish votes yes. We are adjourned at 7:26 p.m. Thank you, councilors.